I'll tell you, I've been dieting for 5 days.
And you're miserable.
And I haven't seen, I feel more cut. When I feel myself, I feel more cut.
Because you're empty.
I looked in the mirror. Yeah, because I'm empty. I looked in the mirror yesterday. I thought, no, I still have those wide berthing hips. I stared.
Well, that's tough to get rid of. I mean, hips. I mean, you've got to do a lot of lifting, and you've got to change a lot more than just your diet and go to the gym once a day. I mean, if you want to change your hips.
What can you do?
I think you've got to work out probably several times a day or several hours a day.
2 hours a day more.
Oh, like at least. Probably
Wahlberg?
3 or 4.
Like a Wahlberg workout?
Wahlberg workout.
Yeah, you got to get up at midnight and work out, and then go to bed at 4 p.m.
And these hips have just been
And sometimes that's just how your body's made. I don't think you're going to, unless you
go.
go shave your bones down.
Is that an option?
Maybe for you.
Nothing's off the table yet.
Is that
You
possible?
can't help your general shape if you're a pear.
There is a. I am not a pear. Are you? Did you? I want you to.
Some
tell
people
me,
are shaped
how
like
dare you-
pears,
how
some
could
are
you-
apples.
how could-
Some are bean poles.
And some
well,
Airbud.
I am not. That's what women. What were you saying the other day? That thing that dropped out of your ear.
My little Nike Airbud or Nike Apple Airbud.
Apple Airbuds. Chris Demm had them in his ears, and he was cleaning out the cat box, and one dropped in.
Thankfully, fresh litter.
Fresh lip. I just read that women who are large-chested, that's what they call themselves, Airbud shaped.
AirPods.
AirPod shaped because the top has
Because it's a little spindly bottom.
and they said they want that AirPod shaped. And you just called me a pear.
No, I didn't call you a pear. I said some people are pear-shaped.
I got you a reference. I got the inference.
You
on-
implied he inferred.
Yes, that's right. And I do infer that. Well, I told you last year my goal too is to be skinnier than my son, and he called
How's
me.
that going?
Well, so far it's slow going. I'll just say that. I got to feed him more.
Is he bulking?
Is
Is he lifting weights and all?
Well, but he runs too, so he's skinny. He's 16.
He's a trim kid.
And so I'm trying. I got him some chicken and dumplings last night. And I said, "Why don't you have some extra?"
Oh, you fatten him
Why
up.
don't you eat some of this?
Yeah, why don't you eat some of this?
Cracker Barrel?
It's a rarity. I came
Weird, but okay.
home. I came home.
Is that for
with it.
Bible study night?
I did that. Yeah, we had a little Bible.
How's that
study.
going?
Very well. We do that every Wednesday night.
Did you bring up your who do you hang out with in heaven debate?
Yes, my daughter said she would research that, but she was of the mind that Biggie was, that you wouldn't know people in heaven. That was
You're just in eternal bliss.
Yeah, you're just so you don't care about knowing someone because you're so happy to be.
there's a little known but fantastic movie from the 80s that Chris Demm and I have seen called Defending Your Life. And it's like you're halfway to heaven, but you have to defend what you did here on
Prove
Earth.
that you can move. They're worthy to move on.
Move on. And Meryl Streep is like this. She's going to move on because she's fantastic. Everything in her life was perfect. And then Albert Brooks plays a guy who's right on the edge. Very, very funny movie. But anyway, they make it so you don't have memories of the past because it makes you sad. She explains that. She's like, you don't have any sad memories, And maybe that's how it is. That's what you were saying the other day about going to heaven. But this woman is about Omicron. She was traveling over the holidays, and she was on her way from Chicago to Iceland before Christmas. She was traveling with her father and her brother. Her father's 70 years old. She tested herself 7 times before she left because she wanted to go on this trip. They had relatives in Iceland, and that's where they were going to visit, and they were going to be there for 2 weeks. Every single test was negative. During the flight, they were 3 hours into the 8-hour flight, and she started to have a scratchy throat, and she had a home test in her purse. So she said, I'm going to test myself right here. Positive. While she's in the air, while she is literally sitting in a seat next to her 70-year-old father. So she called the flight attendant over and said, I just got a COVID. I'm back. I'm positive for COVID. And what do you think I should do? So what do you think they did? The two of them sort of got together and decided what she would do.
I'm out, I know.
Drop her in Greenland.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
Open the door, give her a parachute.
Dump her out with that blue ice.
If you'll just follow me to the back of the plane, we actually have a sectioned off area.
There's no need for any alarm, but we're going to be opening the back door.
Like when they shoot Harrison Ford out of the back of Air Force
Yes,
One. In the
exactly.
pod.
right.
We don't tell many people about the pod.
But we have one on this ship.
So
All of our 777s have pods.
Don't worry, it has a beacon. It does. It doesn't.
right.
Where was she flying?
Iceland. And she's coming from Chicago. She was a teacher, so she was worried about, she'd been around a lot of people, a lot of kids and so forth. Well, They said, "Why don't you?"
Not in Chicago yet.
Well, that's
I don't
right.
think they've had any in-person
She's
schools.
from Michigan, so maybe they were in. They decided she would quarantine in the bathroom for the rest of the 4-hour flight. So she literally sat in the plane's bathroom, which was off limits to anybody else, for 4 hours of the 8-hour flight.
Is it possible that this is a false positive after all the negative tests?
She spent Christmas alone and isolated and quarantined from the rest of the family for 10 days. And so for almost the entire trip, she was alone. And they didn't. She did have symptoms, and she's.
Well, they let her in Iceland?
They let her in, but they quarantined her immediately. They put her in a hotel room and she quarantined away from everybody else.
She didn't get to see the fjords?
She did not see the fjords.
Hot springs?
She flew back. She got over the symptoms on December 30th and flew back earlier this week.
What a waste of money.
She's back now.
I'll tell you, that flight attendant kept attending to her while she was in quarantine in the hotel. He brought her presents on Christmas.
She sent her flowers.
He brought her snacks. Yeah. Kept coming and bringing gifts and everything.
Isn't that nice?
Thanking her for going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And staying there.
Yeah, and she stayed. I'll tell you, I had a harrowing bathroom experience yesterday.
Why are we not surprised?
Let me tell you, and I don't know why this happened to me. Yesterday, I was here, and I needed to
sit.
Yeah. So I was sitting.
A seated excursion?
All right, a seated, what you call a seated excursion. We have a bathroom here that's really small. It's unisex, and it's tiny, And I was in that one. I don't normally go to that one, but the other one was occupado. So I go in there and and I just started to do my business. Well, outside the room, I heard a lot of hooting and hollering and yelling.
I heard that.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, but I was in my office.
Did you hear that?
I heard the hooting.
You heard the hooting.
Heard the hooting.
It was a hoot and holler. And you know what I thought? Active shooter. I don't know why I thought that. I really thought we've been invaded and active shooter. And the hooting and hollering.
Thank God I'm in the small bathroom.
Well, I think somebody had won a fantasy football game or something. It was like, yeah.
I think it was somebody made a good sale. I think it's what it was.
Yeah. Woo, woo.
Yeah.
How you know it wasn't coming from the other toilet?
But this has been a very quiet building mostly since the pandemic.
It was the loudest thing I had heard. And I immediately thought, active shooter.
So what do you do?
Exactly. I started looking around. And I did.
Had you completed the mission, or were you still mid-mission?
Mid-mission. I was It's like, what do you do?
Too late to abort?
Yeah. I mean, I was halfway through, and I looked
I can
around.
squirt soap in his eyes.
That's all I had was a squatty potty. You know the squatty potty?
That's right. There's a squatty potty.
Potty in there.
Well, you come out running with me, I'd back up.
I had a squatty potty and a small plastic trash can.
Well,
and then things got quiet, and I realized, okay, I think I'm safe. But I mean, what do you do? Stay in there? I was locked in.
You'd have to.
That's probably one of the safest
lock
places.
the door.
Do you have your phone with you?
No.
That's too bad.
I did not have my phone with me. And I thought to myself, I'm going to start bringing the phone to the bathroom.
Did you scurry across the hall with your pants around your ankles to get your phone?
Army style.
And then back
Your
into
hands
the
and
locked commode?
like an infantryman.
Unbelievable.
What would you do if you hear him looking for you, though?
Yeah, exactly.
I know you're here, Chris Kelly.
That would be awful.
I think you have to fill your hand with poo and use it as a weapon.
Yeah, they say
That's the only thing you can do.
Unless you compete
What else
again
can you
on
do?
That's right.
You're going to swing your belt at him?
No, you're
Are you
right.
wearing a belt these days?
I'm wearing a belt. It's
Oh, that's right.
Grandpa Jones.
that's
Look at that faded leather.
yeah. I'm wearing a belt.
Look,
Right now.
Chris Demm, I think you go full crazy and fling poop at him.
Poop. I
Yeah,
didn't even
fling
think about
poo
it.
like a monkey at a zoo.
I knew if I brought this up, you all would have better ideas because I thought the squatty potty, which is plastic, was
It's plastic, but it's fairly sizable.
Something, but that's all that's in there.
So I came
And liquid soap.
I just took the squatty potty over my head and came.
Not today and ever.
But everybody just looked at me like, "What are you doing?"
We just closed a big deal.
That's great.
Now, the risk of slinging the poo is, what if he was just going to give you a lecture but let you live? But now he's like, you throw poop at me? Oh, I am going to kill you.
I know. But that's really all you've got. I think I'd stay in. I think you just stay in
in.
until he realizes you're there. I mean, it's such a
Don't
small...
courtesy flush. Leave it there because you might need it.
I don't
Well,
flush
now,
at all. You can't
I'm trying
flush.
to remember the layout of that particular toilet.
Not much to it.
There's a drop ceiling in it, though, right?
There is a
You can go up.
I ain't gonna.
You go Die Hard style.
Dang, I haven't thought about that.
I ain't gonna hold those pear hips.
God, and if
There you go again, Dave.
he's just called me a pear hip shape again for the second time. If I drop down, it wouldn't be my luck to crawl and then drop down right in front of him.
I'm right here.
Oh my God! It's like, is there anybody else in this building? And bam, I fall out of it.
My work here is done.
God. See, Chris Demm could do it. I'm too heavy to crawl through that drop ceiling. I don't think it would hold me.
He'd make it to the fire escape.
Could I get to the vents? Could I get inside the vents? I might be too.
I think the vents are smaller than we think. That's one thing movies have misled us about.
Too thick for the vents. Yeah, every movie and TV show they crawl.
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
They're well
He
lit.
walks through them.
They're well lit, and you can easily move through them.
Soap, fecal matter, and a squatty potty. That's all I had at my disposal.
And a belt, your shoe. I mean, if it comes down to it.
You're really thinking of things that I didn't think of because I thought trash can and squatty potty. And, I also thought
those are okay.
Well, I tried to pry the
Towel dispenser
off because it's metal. I tried to pry it off the wall and come running out with that. But they all thought I was crazy. Man, I looked up and they were all high-fiving over a big sale.
Yeah.
And it was just from people that work here.
Why'd you poop in your shoe? I thought it was going to be needed as a weapon.
Shoe poo.
I know. So it was really, I just handled it all the wrong way, I would say. But it really got me thinking, if something like that were to happen.
Hey, school kids deal with it every day. Well, not every day, but practicing and doing the drills for it.
Yeah, and there I was sitting in the toilet.
There is a protocol, right, in the building? I think most buildings do.
Yeah, well,
nowadays.
you have to.
Businesses do.
Right. Yeah.
The hard part's finding the book.
I
remember the protocol.
But I've always thought, who would have thought in the toilet? So when they started screaming outside, I was like, oh, man, what if this was real? It was a drill. Luckily, it was just a drill. There's a little, this is about the future, about technology here. Tom Selleck is on commercials today. He steals your home in a reverse mortgage.
Or your parents' and your grandparents' houses.
He starts right off the top with saying, I'm not
I'm
stealing
not
your
going to
house.
steal your house.
That's right.
Look, if I was stealing your house, I wouldn't be here sitting on this fake park bench.
With these actors who pretend I didn't steal their home. No, but he used to, and this was 1993. He did a series of commercials for AT&T. When I saw it again, I was like, oh, my God, I forgot about those. This was 29 years ago, and he had predictions for the future, and they're all true. Listen to what he says. This is Tom Selleck.
He's the narrator?
He's the narrator.
He was an established superstar by then.
Yeah. Oh, 93, yeah.
Oh, he was even past Magnum at that point.
Yeah. But he was on, it's his voice, Tom Selleck, but the product is AT&T. The company is AT&T, and it's all these things for the future.
Have you ever borrowed a book from thousands of miles away, across the country, without stopping for directions? Have you ever paid a toll without slowing down? Bought concert tickets from a cash machine? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to, the minute you wanted to? Have you ever kept an eye on your home when you're not at home? Or gotten a phone call
How was your day?
on your wrist? Beautiful. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
Your true voice.
Everything about it came true, except it wasn't AT&T that really
That's right.
brought it.
That's the only part that wasn't true.
The other part wasn't true. It wasn't AT&T. All those things are so eerie. It's like watch a movie the moment you want to watch it, and
All of it's true.
take a call on your wrist, and all of those things have
The
happened.
directions part.
Home security, GPS.
Yeah.
Every single thing about it. It's so crazy. But yet it really wasn't AT&T that did that, was it? I know.
No, they helped a little, but
Yeah. And they've done a few things.
they paved the road, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Well, it was other people that did that.
I guess they could argue that. We paved the road for the internet.
Yeah, they created phone lines and dial-up modems, and
That's kind of eerie the way that was, wasn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, that's 29 years ago. This is about calling for help, too. Yesterday we talked about the backup on I-95 where people were out there over 24 hours because of that sort of freak snowstorm. There's rain first, then snow, and they had ice. They couldn't move.
did they ever come up with a number of how many people were stuck out
I
there?
haven't seen that number.
I hadn't either.
That's a good question. But one woman said that they were stuck on I-95 for over 24 hours. Her name is Casey No. She and her husband were in the traffic, and they were starving, and they saw a bread truck also stranded out there near them. It was a delivery driver for a company called Schmidt Baking with bread in the truck, they assumed. So this lady called customer service. The number was printed on the side of the truck and said, can you get that guy to start handing out whatever is in his truck? And the owner called her back and said, yeah, we'll do that. We will get that guy. We know who it is. And apparently he shared bread with all the cars around. They had bread inside the back of the truck. This is the actual woman talking about
We
it.
just stared at these loaves of bread, and we hadn't eaten in about 37 hours. So we were starving. On a whim, I kind of just called the customer service department of Schmidt's Bread, and they were so incredible. The CEO called me within 20 minutes and wanted to speak to the driver. After talking to the driver, he told the driver to open up the back and to just share the bread with anybody that needed it.
Right, it's all like bread, loaves of bread. Now I'm low carb right now.
Yeah, what would you do?
Yeah, what would you say? We just eat some snow?
Yeah,
A handful of snow?
Yeah.
that's my diet.
Oh,
right
you'd have been out there like, this is a gift.
well,
Being
yeah,
stuck out here.
yeah.
Chance for everybody to lose weight.
That's right. I would have probably been doing some calisthenics.
Anybody want to do some crunches?
Stay away from me, Schmidt's Bread.
I'm planking.